everybody, Lord Tremendous here, and I got another battle report here for you. Battle report number 2 of my 40k series. This is a 2,000 point battle. I was able to put some more models together since my last game. I do have some proxies in this, and I'll explain them along the way, so you got nothing to worry about. But it is I, Lord Tremendous of the Thousand Suns, versus the Wog Boss of the Orks. And this is another old friend of mine that I haven't played in years because we just haven't really played any games together. He's either been busy or he's been playing systems I don't play. We did get a couple of 9th Age intro games in, but then 40k hit, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's the new hotness in my LGS, so if you can't beat him, join him. So yeah, this is great. This is one of the first games I played against this guy, and oh gosh, 3 years, 2-3 years. So this is an excellent game. It's a lot of fun, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and it has changed because, well, it's 2,000 points. I've added 700 points to the list. My HQ choices are Ahriman on a disc. I just really like the model and his stat line. He's got the Black Staff of Ahriman, the Infernal Bolt Pistol, and a frag and crack grenades. And, you know, he's on a disc. My second HQ choice is my Sorcerer in Terminator armor. Little mistake with him last game. I fixed all that this time, so now he's actually being played correctly. This is Jack-O-Lantern. He's got a Combo Bolter and a Force Staff. He's just another Smite caster. I like him. In my troops category, I've got a unit of 10 Rubric Marines. They have 6 Infernal Bolters, 2 Warp Flamers, a Soul Reaper cannon, and the Sorcerer is equipped with a Force Staff and a Infernal Bolt Pistol. This is a badass unit. Not only does it look gorgeous, but it really kicks ass on the field. And then I have 2 units of Zangors, and I split them up because I wanted the extra battle points. 12 Zangor, like I said, 2 units of 12 Zangors, both with auto pistols and chain swords. Honestly, I did not think this unit was going to be as good as it is. You'll see in a minute. And then I have, not troops of course, I've got 2 Hellbrutes. I think they're elite or heavy support, I cannot remember which. Both Hellbrutes though have a Multi-Melta, a Hellbrute Fist, and a Heavy Flamer inside their fists. Then I have a unit of 5 Scarab Occult Terminators. They have 3 Infernal Combo Bolters, 4 Power Swords, a Soul Reaper Cannon, the Hellfire Missile Rack is on one of them, and the Sorcerer has a Force Staff and a Infernal Combo Bolter as well. This unit is a lot of fun too, and I love the way they look so much. Then I've got in heavy support, and like I said, I'm not really sure where the Hellbrutes go, whether they're in the elites or the heavy support category, so they're just kind of in a league of their own until I figure that out. But I've got my Forge Fiend still. He's got 2 Ectoplasmic Cannons and Demonic Jaws, and he's just my grenade launcher. His job is just fire shots off, and if he gets in combat, he's got the Jaws, so he's kind of an all-around. I just love the way he looks. And then I have my pride and joy in the Titan category, or whatever the hell category it is, my Renegade Knight, Lord Tremendous.
You in my house, motherfucker!
Yeah, I'm gonna play it a lot with this guy because he's like cheating. He's such a badass. He's got 2 heavy stubbers, he's got the thermal cannon, he's got the rapid fire assault cannon, and Titanic feet. This guy is a mobile badass, and he's huge. I'm using a proxy one right now because Big Tom from Big Tom Painting, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see at the end of this battle report, is putting him together, converting him slightly, and painting him for me. I am giddy with excitement about this model. It has quickly become my favorite in the unit. Or in the army, anyway. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause whenever you like to see what he took. And here's deployment. Okay, so we went back and forth deploying one unit at a time, like I guess the regular rules. Sometimes people use ITC, sometimes they don't. I don't really know what ITC rules are, so for the most part, I just kind of let my opponent tell me what to do. I figure as long as we both agree on it, we're good to go. So for the most part, I knew he had a horde brick army of orcs, and as you can see, I have a green tide to deal with. He's got his little Daka jet plane on the right there. He's got a mess of cans with a big ass can in the middle. He's got like 3 waves of orc boys. He's got some sort of jumpy, shooty assault ones, and then in the middle of all the boys, he's got like 3 or 4 characters, and it's insane. I did not bring enough ammo. I'm deep striking with my Terminators, so they're not on the table yet. I've got my Forge Fiend on there, on the right flank there, with my Sorcerer on Terminator armor and Ahriman on the right. I've got a unit of Zangors in front of them. I've got a Hellbrute next to him, and the idea there is to try to put as much damage into the cans as possible. I'm hoping Smite helps. I'm hoping the Ectoplasm Gun helps. I'm hoping a lot of things help. I've got my Titan Lord Tremendous right in the middle there, and his job is going to be fire at the cans. I got to kill as many of them as I can before they can get into combat with me, or I'm screwed. And then on the left flank, I've got my Rubric Marines, another unit of Zangors, and a Hellbrute, and they're hopefully going to get into infantry combat and kill as many as they can before they're overwhelmed. I have no delusions of my left flank surviving. I just want them to hold up the tide for as long as possible. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do enough wounds to the tide before they overwhelm me. So really, it's just about body count for me. And that's it for deployment. Roll off to see who gets to go first. Or actually, I think I got to go first using the rules, and he tried to steal the initiative and failed. So I go first, and boom, I come forward. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to get in range of all of his stuff, or all my stuff, so I could shoot at him. And so things moved up. My Terminators come over on the right flank because I wanted to put some damage on the jet, because I wasn't sure what it did, but I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. And then my Zangors and my Hellbrute in the left flank move up. The Rubric Marines come off the bunker to try to get in a close range so they can, or close enough range to shoot at the Orks. Same on the right side with the Zangors, Ahriman, and the other Hellbrute. My Renegade Knight stays right where he's at, as well as my Forge Fiend, because I don't really need to move. And my Terminator and Sorcerer my Sorcerer in Terminator armor comes up just a little bit to try to get in range. He can't really move that far because they're kind of slow. And that's really it for my movement. During my psychic phase, my Terminator Sorcerer is able to smite 1 wound onto the jet, and that's a pretty good start. And then in the shooting phase, I wasn't able to do anything else in the psychic phase. I don't think anything else was in range. But in the shooting phase, the Hellfire missile launcher is the only thing that's able to wound the jet, and it does 3 more wounds to him for a total of 4. Not enough to really do anything to it, but like I said, I'm taking a chunk out of it, and it's got to start somewhere. And that's it. I shot at his cans, I shot at his boys, I shot at a ton of stuff, and he was making 5-up ward saves because of his force fields like it was going out of style. Like, he made 3 on 3 separate dice on his cans alone from my from Lord Tremendous. It was very frustrating, and at the same time, absolutely amazing. So, it was a twisted thing of emotion. So with that, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and he comes forward with the Fury. There was no hesitation. The only thing that didn't come forward were the little unit of boys, 24-man brick, friggin' boys back there, and you'll see why in a second. Also, his one of his cans turns over and goes after the Terminators, so that's not good. And that's it for his movement. But yeah, he wants a fight, and he's gonna get it because there's nowhere for me to run. In his psychic phase, he casts something with his weird boy that allows this to transport a unit anywhere on a table that's less than 9 or more than 9 inches away from any enemy unit. So he teleports him over to my right flank like that, and now they can shoot and assault and all the other crazy stuff. Holy crap, I'm in a lot of trouble, and there was nothing nearby, so I couldn't even deny the witch. It's a pretty powerful spell, so yeah, that's not good. We go into a shooting phase, and the boys, I think on the left side there, open fire at my Zangors, and they're able to kill 1. As you can see, those are Beastmen, not what's it called? not Zangors. I'm currently getting them put together and painted, so I had to proxy in order to play, and I don't think that's a big deal. But yeah, one of them is dead, so you don't even have to look at it anymore. Then some other boys shoot at him as well, and they're able to kill another one or two, which is, you know, kind of what they're up front for, but at the same time, it's like, I'm gonna need them, stop shooting me. And then we go over into the assault phase, and his big-ass can there charges my Terminators. I stand and overwatch, and I'm able to only slip one wound through. All in all, that's not terrible considering I needed 6 to hit, but yeah, only one wound got through on him, so pretty sure I'm screwed here. We jump into the fight, and I'm able to put 3 wounds on this piece of garbage, but in return, he kills one of my Terminators. It was more or less a fair exchange, but I don't like fair. Not when I got 300 more Orks to deal with, and one can is ripping apart my Terminators. Over here, his boys charged into my Zangors and did a number on them. They were able to hit the Zangors and my Terminator and my Forge Fiend. I only did 2 wounds back to him, and in return, he killed pretty much all but one of my Zangors. That sucked. Following his reconciliation, because I think he does smoke all my Zangors, he gets that 3-inch in. Ahriman's now in combat. And I forgot my Terminator sorcerer. He took 4 out of his 5 wounds. So things are not looking as good as I thought they were going to look on the right flank there. This is really bad. There is no quitting me, though, and it's far from over, so here's top of 2 after movement, and I go forward. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I want to see what this army can do. I don't have a lot of experience with them, so let's find out. So my Zangors move up, my Hellbrute moves up, my Rubric Marines move up, even my Titan moves up a little bit. I didn't realize I couldn't walk through the walls, so I kind of boxed myself in. Again, very new, gonna make a lot of mistakes. Feel free to call me out in the comment section. It's not gonna hurt my feelings. The Hellbrute on the right flank moves up so he can charge into the unit that arm on a disc is in there and everything like that. And that's really it for movement, because everything else I have are either dead or in combat. During the psychic phase, my sorcerer is able to slip a wound through on the can, which is good. It's one step closer to killing the stupid thing. My Terminator sorcerer is able to kill 1 or 2 more over here, which is great because I've got way too many Orks I'm in combat with, and one of them has a power claw. Not happy about that. And then in the shooting phase, my Lord Tremendous, the Renegade Knight, is able. He just empties everything he has into the cans, and my opponent is still making his 5-up force field invulnerable saves, but he fails enough that I'm able to pop a can. Not really enough to put a huge dent in this unit, but it's enough that it's 1/6 of the cans I have to deal with. So, oh God, I'm in trouble. Help me! We go into the assault phase, and my Hellbrute comes in here and tries to help, and he does. Ahriman and the Hellbrute are able to kill, it looks like 5 of these guys. In return, Ahriman takes a wound, and that's really it. The Terminator takes the final wound from the Power Claw guy. What can you do? And you know, it's kind of give and take right now. I'm probably going to get this unit, but there's so much more coming that I'm going to give a lot more than I'm going to take. Definitely shouldn't have walked forward. Over here, my Zangors went into this big unit of 30 boys, and I kill like 13 or 14 of them. In return, I lose 4. It's not terrible. That is not terrible at all. I was very impressed with the amount of the attacks and the amount of damage my Zangors did. And in return, they only took 4 wounds. I like that unit of chickens. I very much do. This combat over here kind of tilts out of my favor again. I slip another wound through on him, but I lose another Terminator. And while he can afford to lose wounds, I really can't afford to lose any more Terminators. I need to kill this thing yesterday. We go into the morale phase, and only a couple of the Orks run away, which honestly isn't bad considering you lost 5 or 6 guys. I don't have to take any, well, except for with the Zangors, and I pass it with flying colors, so that pretty much ends the turn. Here's bottom of 2 after movement, and yeah, they're getting closer. They're so much closer. On the right flank there, the big mech goes away from the little cans to go and deal with the Terminators because he's starting to see the big mech losing, and he don't want that. The smaller cans come after Ahriman, my Hellbrute, and my Forge Fiend, and I don't want that. The tide comes towards my Hellbrute and my Renegade Knight, and I don't feel too bad about that, actually. I'm okay with that. And the weird fast cav Storm Boys or whatever they are, they advance and come as close to my Rubik Knights or Rubik Marines as they can. He loses 3 of them because I guess when he does that, he has to roll dice for all of them. Every one he rolls is one that nosedives, which is hilarious. So 3 of them, as you can see in the back left there in the barn, are dead because they ran into trees. And that's really it for movement. It's coming down to some brutal fighting very, very fast. In the shooting phase, his boys open up on my Hellbrute and slip a couple of wounds through on him, and that's not terrible considering the amount of shots that just got slung at him. Not to be outdone, his jet fires at my Hellbrute and puts another 3 wounds on him, which is starting to feel a little personal, not gonna lie. And then we go into the assault phase. These Storm Boys, they assault my Rubik Marines, and my Rubik Marines open up on them. The 2 Warp Flamers are very sexy. As you can see, I kill like 7 of the bastards before they even touch me, which was huge. Starting to think maybe I should have put nothing but Warp Flamers on these guys and marched them forward. Anyway, as the rest of them get in there, and I still have a hell of a fight on my hands, so that's gonna hurt. Over here, the boys charge into my Hellbrute, and I think maybe 1 or 2 go down thanks to the Heavy Flamer, but it was far from enough. Let's take a minute to appreciate this picture. I got the Zangors in the top left there with his war boss charging into the Zangors. I almost forgot, sorry. And then I got this whole thing of Ork boys slamming into the Hellbrute. Just appreciate this for a minute. It really puts into perspective what the Orks can do. And worst possible outcome imaginable, the cans make it into the Hellbrute and Ahriman on the disc. So, yeah, you can pretty much just count my right flank out of the rest of this game. That sucks. In my defense, I put a lot of rounds into those cans. He was just making his 5-up saves like it was going out of style. And good on him. Can't fault the man for rolling well. On the right flank, this big scary can slams into my Terminators, and that is so bad. I was having enough trouble with the smaller can. Imagine what this big one's gonna do. Was it the Death Can or something like that, and then the Mecha Can, and I'm screwed. We go in the combat, and my Hellbrute dies horribly. I think he does 8 wounds that get through on top of whatever ones I was able to save. I do not explode, although that would have been hilarious. It would have done nothing. And when he piles in or gets his reconciliation or whatever, he gets the Renegade Knight in combat. And that's not a big deal because I can just back up with him and shoot and then assault him. So while I don't like the disengage rule, when in Rome. And now there's a better picture of my Renegade Knight in combat with the boys. Like I said, not a huge big deal. I'm going to deal with them in a minute. In this combat over here, things do not go well for me at all. All my Zangors die before I get a chance to strike back. I thought about burning the command points to interrupt and get my attacks off, but it really wasn't going to matter. It is what it is. The Zangors did really well, all things considered. Over here, though, things go about as horrible as they possibly could. The Big Mac eats the Terminators alive. I didn't make enough saves to save any of them. And the remaining 3 Terminators died to the bastard. That thing is terrifying in close combat. And then in the fight with my Rubik Marines, I actually flub pretty badly here. I'm not proud of that at all. I lose 3 of my guys, and I think I kill 4 of his, so I guess I got the upper hand, but certainly didn't feel like it. He still has just about as many as I do, and he's got backup coming. I'm all out. In this combat over here, again, it does not go well. My Hellbrute dies, it does not explode. Ahriman gets beat up pretty good, takes a couple of wounds. And my Forge Fiend is on his last legs. He takes 6 wounds. He's on his way out. I didn't hit and wound with anything. I think maybe an Ork died, and that's all I could do. I'm really, really failing with my rolls, and my opponent's making his saves. It's the exact opposite of what I'd like to have happen. So as painful as that was, I'm not dead yet, and here's top of 3 after movement. Not much at all. Most of my stuff is dead. The only thing that moved was my Renegade Knight, Lord Tremendous, and he disengaged from the Orc so he could shoot at some stuff. That is it for movement. During the psychic phase, Ahriman has to put the smite on the orcs because they're the closest enemy unit, and he's able to take out 3 of them, which is glorious, because, hey, I might get a unit before the game is over. My sorcerer over here and the Rubik Marines are able to take out one of the Storm Boys, which isn't terrible at all, better than nothing. And then we go into the shooting phase, and the jet gets blown up. Lord Tremendous puts the thermal cannon into it, hits with all 3, wounds with 2 of them, does about 8 wounds or something insane. 8 to 10 wounds to him, which puts him over his max. He does not blow up, but he does go down in a pile of smoldering ash. The orcs will be walking home, which is glorious because I'm not going to be able to beat him. And I got my first battle point. At least he didn't goose egg me. The rapid fire and the heavy stubbers go into the boys in front of them, and I think I get like 4 or 5. Didn't do great on my roll into hitting wounds, but everyone down is another one I don't have to deal with, so that's kind of sexy. We go into the assault phase, and it's brutal. I lose 3 more Rubik Marines. He loses 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5, or 3 or 4 of them, which, again, isn't the best in the world. And he's got a lot of guys coming at me over here. I'm in a lot of trouble. But you know what? The Rubik Marines are really putting up a hell of a fight, and what more can I ask for? In combat over here, Ahriman gets murdered by the cans, just ripped to pieces. My Forge Fiend is doing alright. He did heal a wound in the beginning of my turn. Ahriman is able to kill, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ahriman and the Forge Fiend together are able to kill 5 of these guys. The Forge Fiend has a chance to kill the unit before he gets murdered, but, well, we'll see. And then I assault with the Renegade Titan into these guys. I take a few wounds for my trouble. He just gets some through, just sheer volume. However, in return, I'm able to kill 5 or 6 of these guys. And slowly but surely, I'm probably going to make my way through this unit. It is at this point that I realize just how great of a model the Renegade Knight really is and how underused I had him this game. Really should have had him up front faster. Morale checks are all passed, so we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement. And my opponent just kind of strolls his way across the table some more. On the left flank there is characters and his remaining boys, fresh off their victory from the Zangors, come towards the Rubik Marines, can't blame them. A couple of his characters, his Banner Boy and his Weird Boy or whatever, and his Force Field Generator guy comes towards the Renegade Knight Lord Tremendous, which will prove to be his downfall, I hope. Meanwhile, the remaining cans converge on the Forge Fiend, and yeah, he's pretty much screwed. But that's it for movement. Nothing happens in his psychic phase, and he really doesn't have anything to shoot at, so we go straight into assault. His cans and his big mech come into the Forge Fiend and rip it to pieces. They send it back to the warp, and that's unfortunate. However, I'm very pleased with my Forge Fiend. It did well. My opponent made his 5-ups, which really shocked and depressed me, but at the same time, the Forge Fiend performed exactly as well as it could, and I'm pleased with the model. So it dies a hero's death. Over here, it does not go well for his boys at all. My Renegade Knight, Lord Tremendous, just tap dances on all the orcs. I do take a few wounds, of like 2 more, but I'm still well above into the top bracket and murder all of those guys, which means I get another battle point, which I am thrilled about. So while the orcs are probably going to win this one, at least his victory party will be much smaller now. Over here is Warboss, and the rest of the boys come in to mess up my Rubik Marines, and they do. However, that being said, the Rubik Marines, even with all the other stuff, get the upper hand and finish off the Storm Boys. I think I burn a command point just to get all my attacks, or 2 command points anyway. My last 2, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I kill off the Storm Boys before they can do anything to me. When he gets to attack back, he kills 3 out of the 4 of my Rubik Marines, leaving the Sorcerer right where he's at. So I'm going to count this as a victory because I've gotten my 3rd battle point right here. And it feels good. It feels good. It's coming right down to it. Here's top before after movement, and I'm starting to figure out that my Renegade Knight should not have just hung out and back and shot. He should have moved forward, shot, and then started stomping on those Ork boys before they could get into anything else. So, knowing all that, I move my Renegade Knight up so that I can go after his weird, his boy with this banner boy, and then I want to go after his weird boy with the assault. Other than that, I have no movement because everything else is dead or in combat. During the psychic phase, I'm able to get smite off on the boys, and I kill one more. Ignore the storm boys over there; they were dead from last one. You just hadn't picked them up yet. One boy got killed, and hey, I'm nickel and diming him. I'm gonna get him eventually. Then we go into the shooting phase, and because my sorcerer's got a pistol, he fires and blows the head off of yet another Ork boy, which is really outstanding. Lord Tremendous takes aim at his banner boy and shoots his head, arm, and one of his legs off. Just unloads everything onto him because I have to. He's the closest enemy unit. He's a character. I can't target any other characters, so I just unload everything on him and melt him into his baser elements. And I'm pleased about that. We go into the assault phase, and Lord Tremendous goes after his weird boy. His weird boy does Overwatch, I think, but isn't able to do anything to me, and I make it. So, Lord Tremendous is racking up the kills. I'm really proud of this model. I throw a bunch of dice at him, and Titanic Feet is the last thing that this guy sees. His weird boy dies a horrible death, which is no more than he deserves, and I'm glad to see him go. Not everything goes my way, though. My sorcerer from my Rubik Marines gets pounded to death by my opponent's war boss. And you know what? They put up a hell of a fight. They held to the last man. And when he finally did get killed, it was to overwhelming odds. I'm very proud of my Marines. And to follow up, we both got closer to each other, which means next turn we'll see some pretty intense combat. Moving right along, here's bottom of 4 after movement, and for the most part, his cans all come towards the left flank there. His boys don't really need to move any closer because they're right on top of me, and there's nothing else for him to go after, so that's it for movement. So, yeah, during the shooting phase, he gets a handful of wounds through me on me. I think 11 or 12 total wounds are on my Renegade Knight right now. In return, I'm not really sure. I don't remember exactly what happened. He comes at me. I overwatch at one of them. I'm able to put 3 wounds on one of the guys. And his war boss has 2 on for some reason. I don't remember why. But anyway, that's what happens, and they all get in, and it's not looking good for Lord Tremendous. We go into combat, and they're able to get 23 wounds total on my Renegade Knight. One shy of killing him outright, which means I got to counterattack. I put some into his characters, and I put some into his boys. You can see I killed his force field boy, I killed one of his orc boys, I did nothing to his war boss, but I'm still alive, and that means next turn I have a chance. Stupid excited. Here's top of 5 after movement, and the only movement that there is, obviously, is my knight disengaging. I had just enough movement to get the hell out of the way, and now I can open fire on him. And then assault, so that should be a lot of fun. We go into the assault phase because I'm hitting on like 5s, and I just wasn't able to hit. So I assault, and I make it no problem. And yeah, they do Overwatch. They're not able to slip that last wound through, so it's game on. The way I have to go in also gets the Big Mech in. I'm only able to kill 2 of the boys. Their counterattacks are able to slip that last wound through, and I fall apart, which is too bad. However, Lord Tremendous explodes. I roll it, and I roll a 6. So, mortal wounds for everyone within 2d6 inches. It's not a huge explosion, it only goes out 5 inches, but it's an effective explosion. I kill the last of the orc boys, which means I got all of them, which I'm stupid proud about. I did 2 more damage to his war boss and did 1 more to get him. And his mech took a couple, but whatever, I wasn't going to do anything to his mech. And I'm tabled, but man, what a way to end the game. And there it is. There's the end of the game. As you can see, I have been tabled, but I got a lot of the orcs. And there seems to be a little bit of disarray because their war boss is beat to death. Well, almost beat to death. He's limping back. He walked over, but he's limping back. He's got his war boss, his mecha can, and all of his mechanical cans over there still pretty much alive and well. I think maybe he's missing one. So I'm not upset about my performance. All in all, considering just how many models were on the table, I'm very proud of my army and how I performed in this one. And it was probably the best tabling I've ever received. But you know what? We'll get to the recap in just a minute because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, as I'm sure you guys all noticed, my army is painted beautifully. I mean, top-notch, high-quality paint job on my models. And as most of you know, it wasn't done by me. My models were painted by Big Tom of Big Tom Painting, and if you want your models to look as good, to really blow the minds of everyone that you show them off to, contact Big Tom. Send him an email. He's going to paint your models to your specifications. He's going to hook you up for a competitive price, not going to gouge you or anything like that, and it's going to look magnificent. Your models will never look better. So if you're like me and you don't know how to paint at all, because, well, let's face it, not everybody's born with that gift, contact Big Tom, get your models looking good, and actually be proud of your army for a change. And tell him Tremendous sent you. So as I'm sure as you could put together for yourself, this was a defeat for Lord Tremendous. I got tabled at the top of turn 5. Almost made it. I lost everything, which is what tabled means. I'm actually, like I said, very proud of my performance in this game. It's my third game of 8th edition 40k, and I made it to turn 5 against a very experienced opponent. He's got a lot more time in the game, a lot more time with his army, and honestly, he's just a better opponent than I am. So I enjoyed this game a lot. I'm feeling my way around my army still, and trying to figure out how to play them, obviously. My deployment, my utilization of my units and everything like that was a bit piss poor, but games like this are helping me figure things out. Like, for example, the Renegade Knight is a lot like cheating. I feel that if I had been much more aggressive with my knight, he would have died a lot sooner, but he probably would have done more damage prior to his demise. So, like I said, learning. I was very surprised by how well my Zangors did. They were, like, in combat, even in shooting, they were surprisingly good, and I was very proud of them. I actually want to field more. The Rubrics did really well. Again, they succumbed to overwhelming odds, but it took that to take them down. My Terminators didn't do so well, but that's, again, not really their fault. They ran into something the equivalent of them, and then, of course, something that was way, way tougher than them. Still need to learn to utilize my units efficiently, like I said, but I had a ton of fun with this game, and I'm having a ton of fun with my army. So, I don't even chalk this up as a loss. I lost big. Of course, this was a fantastic opponent to have my third game against, and it was so great to be able to play him after years of not being able to be game in anything against him because, well, we just have different tastes. This is a fantastic game for multiple reasons, and I cannot wait for our rematch because I'm hoping to actually make it all the way to the end of the game with something on the table. I don't know, though. The guy's pretty aggressive. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that's going to do it, guys and gals. Battle Report number 2 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.